Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film.
We take to the skies over the trenches this week with Tony Bill's 2006 WW1 Aerial Epic, Flyboys.
2016. Started over.
It's 2006.
It's 2006, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's an old film.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder it's so shitty.
Don't cut that part, Nate.
Oh, fuck. I thought.
So, anyway, I'll do the intro one more time. And
Yeah.
Nate can decide
Okay.
what to
I'm
do.
sorry. Yeah, that was my fuck up. Okay.
As always, I'm joined by Mike A.,
Hello.
Mike B.,
Yes, sir.
and unfortunately, Nate did not make it back from the Dawn Patrol. So here's 3 cheers to him in his new billet in the German POW camp. Huzzah.
Hip hip. Fuck you.
Hip, hip, fuck you. So anyway, what do you guys think?
I'd seen this movie years ago, and it's one of those things where, like, I'm so bored watching it that I don't think I've ever, like, watched it all the way through. I think last night I started to do this, and I think the first time I saw it, I started to do this too. I was fast forwarding through all of the romance scenes. And I mean, and I don't hate romance, when it's done well.
I know exactly where you're going. So yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, no, I can't do it. I mean, it was I don't know, dude. Like, I just wanted to see the terrible CGI and make fun of it and all that stuff. And I couldn't stand this relationship that was forced upon me to observe. And so that's I guess and not only that, but it's just stupid. Like, the whole movie is just stupid. So anyway.
Yeah, I'll jump in here quick and say this is, in my opinion, World War I Pearl Harbor. It's like, it's dumbed down for people that know that something happened. And
Nate had don't mean to jump in, but Nate messaged me today because I was like, "Good luck watching this," and he's like, "I don't have to," because I didn't know that he wasn't gonna be here, and I'm like, well, fuck you for dodging this movie, and he's like, "Oh, really? Is it that bad?" And I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Is it like midway bad?" And I said, "It feels like that. It's like an old school story that's but it's a 21st century movie." But the story feels like it's from the 30s or something like that. Yeah, and it's just cheesy. Yeah.
A few weeks ago, we had a poll, and this movie was in it. And, it didn't win, obviously. And so now we're reviewing it as well. But Sean told me, he's been on the channel a few times. He was like, whenever you had Flyboys up for a poll, I voted for it. And I'm like, thank you for voting to torture me. But, like,
It's so boring.
Yeah, I was watching vintage commercials. Because, like, I don't know. I was like, oh, look, here's a Bryan Cranston ad for soap in 1983. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. And, like, as all this love shit's going on. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because there have been so many films about World War I flyers through the years. The first film that ever won an Oscar, Wings, was about World War I pilots. So it's a thing that's been covered in film, like 6 different ways to Sunday, And another film that came out around this time that I forgot existed until I looked this up yesterday is The Red Baron. And The Red Baron is very similar to this film in a lot of ways and just as bad. And it's funny how, like, you get this wave of the early aughts or mid-aughts where it's like these World War I flyer films and it's like, oof, what's
where
worse?
It's like this, the CGI, like, spectacle scenery of the beautiful landscape and all that shit in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, or like there's one shot in the movie where like they're going over a lake and like you can clearly tell they're like CGI planes, and then they go up and it's like, oh, there's the even worse version of them because they're not reflected anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's
So
just funny.
you're telling me you can't fly through a Zeppelin?
Well, I mean, you can try everything.
I mean,
just to end my rant, and then I'll have you take over, Birch.
no,
But like,
it's all good, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's just really funny to like, have seen Hell's Angels and Wings, and some of the greats, and then watch this, and it's like, really, like, I don't know. It's just, the last 20 years they've not made good dogfighting movies.
It's only going in forward in time, but only making things shittier.
Yeah, literally. It's like Red Tails that we'll get to
That's
sooner or later
yeah,
is like
the same
it's
kinda
Star
thing.
Wars over Italy. Like it's fucking horrible, And I actually had a friend of mine walk out, a museum director. I went to see that film.
Interestingly, that movie was produced by George Lucas of all people.
Really?
You didn't know
Interesting.
that?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
Star Wars noises, like fucking.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He wanted to make World War II dogfights in space with Star Wars, and then he just
That's
made
what- yeah.
Star Wars and World War II with that film. So like fucking.
Yeah.
It comes
Your
full
fucking
circle.
priorities straight, George.
No, I've always wanted to tell the story of the Red Tails.
Oh God. Tuskegee Airmen was a much better film, even though it's very 90s.
Agreed.
But it's,
Yeah, agreed.
Never seen it.
really it's very
I hear it's
early
good.
90s. Like I saw it on the History Channel. Like that's
Same,
That's dated
same,
myself. Yeah,
same.
It
Yeah.
was like it was a
Yep,
little
yep.
history icon in the bottom left. Fucking.
Yep, of course. Yep.
But yeah, on my futon. Oh God. But what do you call it? Yeah, it's just sad that they don't really make good dogfight films anymore. And I know people are like, well, what about Maverick? Well, Maverick's not real. So like fucking.
Well, it's not necessarily dogfights, but we'll have to see how the Mighty Eighth is, which is the third HBO World War II installment.
Oh, I love Memphis Belle. That's such a good movie. And the original documentary is great. I actually read a memoir recently from a guy that filmed a lot of the B-roll for that, like on bombing missions in Europe. And they had to go against crazy shit to get the footage. But long story short, yeah, I'm interested to see the Mighty Eighth. I saw some scenes in it and they had fiberglass B-17s. And like when they're on the airfield, like the wings are sagging. So like, we'll have to see how they dealt with some of the stuff. But no, they had a lot of cool production value and things. And there's a lot of neat things. They built a whole German POW camp for part of it, because one of the guys ends up in a Stalag. So,
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, so that will be interesting to see how they can do it. But long story short, on a whole, I was let down. And it's a movie. So, Mr. World War I expert, what do you think?
It is a movie, and it was a letdown, yes. But I'm also a virgin to this video, or this film, rather.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
So instead of
heard
shooting
about it.
yourself or jumping out, you rode this motherfucker down all the way.
I rode this motherfucker down and happened to survive somehow. But I'm not at all an expert on World War I aviation. That's a like same with armor. I'm not at all. I more go for like the average like infantry tactics if I'm looking at it at a tactical level, right? And like a uniform level and all that stuff. So I don't know about like the uniforms per se. I knew that there was U.S. and Canadian volunteers, well, mostly U.S. at this point, who would go over there and fly. And yes, I knew that. But I don't know how well they were presented. The acting was absolutely fucking atrocious. James Franco, sorry, bud. I know you're famous because of whatever. You can't act.
That's one of the biggest fucking. I mean, everything in this movie's a no pun intended, definitely pun intended. A
Nosedive. Yes.
But I mean, him as the lead actor, I'm just like, go fuck yourself. I want to punch this guy in the face.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so terrible. He's so fucking terrible. Like, no, I'm not saying I can do a better job because I'm not a fucking actor. I don't claim to be. But it's like, everything I've seen him in is just dog shit, no matter what he does. What the fuck were the people who casted him thinking? You're
to
making
say.
him a fucking guy from Texas, which his accent's very, very fucking not consistent, if you notice
Yes.
that. Okay.
Like when he first shows up, he definitely is overdoing it. Then eventually just kind of goes.
Yeah,
away.
he's from Aberdeen and like whatever. Okay, good fucking good for you. But like, okay, that's not the focus. Okay, there are people from Aberdeen, Texas, who do not have a super Southern drawl. But it's like, Jesus Christ, him out of everyone portraying somebody who was in the military. Yeah, okay, you can portray somebody that's got the attitude of an American going over there. So overdone, so shitty. Anyway, I'll get off of James's ass for the time being. I'll get back on it later. It's not good. But like, no, there was so much shit in here that I, as a very amateur World War I historian, know is complete and utter fucking bullshit. And it's like they didn't even try. They went with the story. They did it very lazily. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't like the film, in case you haven't realized it so far. I didn't like it. Just to get that out of the way, it'd be very clear. No, it was. This story is cool. The story itself is fucking cool. The way it was presented was so fucking. It wasn't even half-assed. It was quarter-assed at best. With the acting, the fucking cinematography, the fucking uniforms, the etiquette, the everything was just. I mean, what the fuck? Why did you even make it if you're not going to intend to like carry it through to the best of your god? And if this is the best of their ability, I don't know how the fuck they're still in business. So, but anyway, besides that, I mean, like it was kind of cool seeing the airplanes, like fire up, because I've actually seen legitimately like restored and completely correct airplanes fly at the EAA Air Show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin in 2016. And they are fucking awesome. They can take off at such a short distance. I wasn't aware of this. But like I've seen a Fokker DR6, which is what you see in the film, and a DR8, which is the monoplane. Not a Sopwith Camel, but like the French one that they were flying. What the hell is it called? A Newport, yeah.
Yep.
So I saw a Newport. They can take off very, very shortly. Like it's like 100 yards and they're up. And so that they actually got right, which is pretty cool. We'll talk about that in a second. But like there were some things they paid attention to very well. And like they kind of got right in the whole kind of bigger picture. But overall, why the fuck? Why did you make this if you're not going to do it right? Brian.
Yeah, just to add to it, I have been lucky enough to see a lot of these planes, well, replicas, but there's a place in the Hudson Valley in Upper New York or upstate New York. It's called Rhinebeck Aerodrum, and they do all these World War I like air shows every month, and it's insane. It's been going on for like 60 to 70 years now, and they keep going, and they have, it's all World War I. They have like guys that bring like RC tanks and stuff, and in the front of it, the entrance, there's an original FT-17. That's painted in like the heart pattern and everything. Mm-hmm. And dude, these are big events. They get like 5,000.
No, the RC things, like, yeah.
But I hear you, but it's big. But it's cool. Like they build like mini trenches. Yep. But so anyway, I've seen DR1s, I've seen DR7s, I've seen the monoplane, Sopwiths, everything. And they're, even for the replicas, they're beautiful.
DR6 is what they were flying, the triplanes, right?
I think DR1
was that DR3?
I'm probably fucking this up.
Yeah, we don't have Nate here. We don't have Nate. It might have been. Was it a DR1? I might have misspoken, but the triplane, like the Red Baron, the typical whatever.
DR1
I thought that was
a triplane.
DR1?
Yep.
Huh. What the hell was the DR6? What am I thinking of?
Well, the 7 was I'm thinking of the Fokker. The 7 is the famous Fokker. That's the really famous one they made a shit ton of.
Yeah, DR7, the triplane.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So I fucked that up.
That's the one that's known as the Fokker, at least in my page.
Yes, exactly. But like, and that's what I think saw. Because again, I'm not an expert on aviation, so I want to put that out there. So if I misspeak, don't fucking. I think
the Germans were all in triplanes, right? I mean, I
don't know. No, not true.
In the movie, they were.
In the movie,
the film. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
In real life, no, they were. The DR8
7s were the most common ones. Yeah.
Yes, the DR7, right? So that's that's the most versatile, agile one that you see in this film, but. We'll talk about the time frame in a second. The DR8 was the monoplane that came out in like late 1917 and like didn't really do much. And there was only a few of them made. That thing is a scary sounding motherfucker. But anyway, so the DR7, right, is what we see in the film, correct?
Yes. No, DR1 is what you see in the film. The DR7 is DR1 is 3 and DR7
Can you prematurely pull up IMFDB? Just so I can make sure, just so we get to the listeners.
Oh, I have it up here right now.
So. Okay, yeah. And it says...
It's a DR1.
DR1, okay,
yep.
Okay. That makes sense. It's the thing that pissed me off a lot about this film too is they never gave time frames. So they said
that was very confusing.
Well, I know when it takes place now because of like what they said, but like, so this starts in late 1916, okay, and it ends in I think mid to late 1917, right? So Yes, that's what I got from just the context of like watching shit and like they got so much shit on the ground wrong. It's so bad. But like we'll talk about that later. So anyway, yeah, the aerial combat is like the thing about the aerial combat that they did was it was too goddamn fast and too agile.
Yeah,
like
they're like fucking speeding past each other and everything.
They wanted to make a World War II dogfight film with World War One.
Yeah.
To keep the audience's attention. Because in real life, these planes, although agile, yes, for the time, they're not doing a fucking, what the hell is it called? The Hammerhead, the Chandrell, whatever. Like where you just fucking pull up, go straight up, stall out, and go to
and
one
drop.
side or the other.
Yeah.
And drop and then get behind your fucking... Dude, that would have taken so long and that would have been such a fucking risky move in the real world, like at that point. Like, I get it, but like, again, you're wanting to show World War II dogfights with World War I planes. That's not... And also... Okay, I'm scatterbrained. Somebody else take the wheel. I'm going to collect my thoughts.
Well, no, I'll get you from there, or I'll take it from there. Like, I know what you mean. These planes are made of wood and fabric. They didn't have the structural ability to do these crazy. I mean, literally, people. I mean, it still happens rarely, but back in the day, you could die because your plane broke up because of the G
without a shot fired. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, you can get yourself into a position where things break and struts break and everything. Like, for example, there's this. It's a joke, but there's the '60s movie called The Mad, 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 Mad World. It's about these people
I love that
racing
movie,
to, like,
dude. I love that movie.
Dude, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that. I've seen it so many times.
The pilot scene with Mickey Rooney. Oh my
Yeah.
fucking god.
Yeah. Benji! Yeah.
I'm holding the stick.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where they rent a Jenny, which is a World War One like plane, very famous.
Is that the one that's like,
yeah, Bubba Butch. And
Yeah.
he's like, this was made in 1916, and it was 50 years old at that point. And the guy's like, who's trying to convince his wife to get out, like, listen, it's made in 1916, it's tried and it's true. And then he puts his foot through the fucking fabric.
Yeah.
So like, it just goes to show that these things are very fragile, and they show like this is new technology and stuff, but it's like it's new. Like this is a fucking kite bag with an engine riveted to it. Like you. Like they only alluded to the fact that you'll die like for one short scene, or like, oh, there's no parachutes and stuff, but like you're the cutting edge of this technology and it's fragile. You screw up one little thing and you're dead, and in the film they really didn't show that. These things take like hundreds of bullet rounds and they're still flying and stuff. It's
well,
like,
and they take so many G's, man. Like,
you're gonna
I'm
break,
serious.
yeah, you're gonna break. Like again, it's framing. It's like a fucking wall above you and around you, and it's like that shit breaks. You lose a few rafters, you're gonna die.
It's really not any different than like in theater they have what's called flats where they can just put up like backgrounds and stuff, and they're made out of canvas, or they're made out of wood frames with canvas stretched over and then painted to tighten, and that's basically what they are. You know, I'm sure there's
That's
some metal,
literally what they are.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some metal bits in them too, but like
Yeah,
It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
There you
yeah.
go.
It's like having metal screws on that frame. Like,
right, I know, yeah.
I mean,
But,
what the fuck,
Yeah,
It's
that's why like the part during this movie where the plane overturns on the guy and it's crushing his hand, which seems like it could easily be pulled out. Like if they wanted to do that scene, I would have said do it his arm instead or his leg.
Dude, like,
yeah,
I thought about that too. I'm like, why don't you dig under your hand? It's
yeah,
fucking dirt.
He just like the plane is like the edge of the plane is just like right here. But anyway, when I saw that, I'm like, James Franco, just fucking turn that thing over. Like
It doesn't weigh much, yeah.
Yeah.
Or other thing too is like it's fabric. You can fucking break
rip through
Like,
it. That's what I'm saying. The
have
guy
an
tries to
elbow.
the guy tries to
lift the
come-
wing up, it'll break, and his
Yeah.
arm will be free.
The guy
Like,
tries to
that's
come out
it.
and help him, and he's like, it's like just
Hey, the engine's at the front, buddy.
right.
That's the
people
heaviest
to
part
wheel
of the
these things
goddamn
around.
plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when they push
I'm
around
sorry.
airfields, they're obviously on wheels, but they weigh like half a ton at the most. Like they're not that.
Well, and the engines where 90% of the weight is,
Exactly, yeah, they're front heavy.
It's at the
know?
front, and it's like fucking Christ. So there was just
And
so
just-
much research that
reminds
was
me,
not
too,
done. Yeah,
This
go ahead.
really pissed me off, and I think I mentioned this once before when we did Illusions of Grandeur. But they have the scarf scene. They're like, "Oh, the scarf is so that you don't chafe your neck." No fucking bullshit. And I know I said it in absent, but I'll say it again. The engine spat out oil like a motherfucker.
They showed that
Castor
actually a
oil.
little bit in the
Yeah,
movie where
that
they
was
had it
cool.
on their
Yep.
face. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're always covered. And when
And it's
pilots are on
castor
turn-
oil.
It's
mind
castor
you.
oil, which is a laxative, which makes you shit. So what they would do is they'd have a long fucking scarf, wear it, gets covered in castor oil, throw
Shift
another
it.
loop, throw
Yep.
another loop. So the whole time you're trying not to fucking, shit your brains out. And that usually when the pilots got and landed, they didn't go, "Oh, who'd you get?" They fucking ran to the latrine because 2 hours of laxative.
Well, and there was one scene where they had a pilot throwing up. There was one scene right when he landed, and I'm like, "Thank you And then I'm like, oh, never again in this film because it's fucked.
Yeah.
Like-
but like literally, you're ingesting a laxative and a poison for like
Oh
the whole
god, yeah,
time you're
and
in the air,
it stinks, and it's like, yeah. So that's like a huge thing because like they had rotary engines for the most part, and it's like, well, with a rotary engine, the oil is directly in where the combustion's taking place. Castor oil is not flammable or combustible. That's why they use that as a lubricant. Well, it also happens to fuck up human beings a lot.
Engines did not become beautifully manufactured things. I mean, there are a few things like the Spitfire engine and stuff, but like, till the late 40s, early 50s, that's when like amazingly fine crafting came out to everything. But like, for example, during the war, a Jeep, there's a fucking tag on it that says, make sure to use octane above 30. Like, like you can't get, like, that's like fucking nail polish. Like, and it will run off that. Like,
Right.
these things were not efficient, but they would run. They would work. They would promote power. So they had to. So these engines back then smoked like a motherfucker. Like I got a motorcycle from the 30s that it's an oil burner. Like you're riding it and it's smoking, and that's what it's supposed to do. It literally vaporizes the oil, and that's how it lubricates the engine. Like it's fucking insane,
that's like when I was down at that air show. They had the DR8 and they fired that fucker up, and we were behind it. Behind it, like we were probably about
open your mouth,
30 yards behind it, and they fired it up, and it's a mean sounding son of a bitch. By the way. That's the meanest sounding airplane I've ever heard in my entire life. Anyway, so it goes off, and all of a sudden we're getting the backwash, and I'm like, oh my god! And then one of my mentors in reenacting is like, yeah, don't breathe that shit in too hard. It's like castor oil, and it'll make you shit. I'm like, it's castor oil, and he's like, yeah. And then he explained it to me, and he goes, yeah, let's just get behind the tent. So he went behind the tent, and they're firing this thing up for like all the people that are there, and then he turned it off within like 3 minutes because he's like, I don't want you guys to get sick. But he's like, yeah. And I'm like, we were standing like 30 fucking yards behind this thing getting destroyed by castor oil. The pilot? My God. What the fuck? And so, yeah, the DR1s and like everything, it's just like insane.
Those scarves and goggles come in handy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. And like they were, go ahead.
That was one cool thing. Again, broken clocks are right twice a day. But when they mentioned the thing about the glasses, I'm like, that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. So, because you're gonna usually pilots die because they hit shit, in the cockpit. Like there was a famous thing on the TBM Avengers where there was a gun sight that was right in front of them that you could move here. That killed most of the guys that crashed. Literally, like they would.
Because it comes back and just
you're dead.
Bam.
You get knocked out. Like literally, like those gun sights were known to be killers. In the end of the war, by the mid part of the war, actually they changed them out. But it's stupid shit like that. So I did like that comment though, because it makes sense. It's like fucking.
Well, that's the thing is that they got. There was a few things that got actually pretty great in like little details, but it's like the majority of it was just a fucking dumpster fire of Hollywoodisms, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like if you're willing to go that first step, and I'll give you about 10% in accuracy, why the fuck don't you try to push it further? Again, it's the algorithm. It's what works, and I'm going to tell this story. So,
but one thing that, and we're it is true that like there's so few of like really good dogfight aviation movies, war movies, and and when watching this, I'm like, okay, I am so sick of like the panoramic shots in the sky and the grand scenery and all this stuff. It's like I want at least one of these movies where when we're up there, we at least get a number of shots where like the camera is mounted in the cockpit and all you can hear is the fucking wind and the engine, and it's just like I say, shit's flying in your face, and it is like gritty as shit. And all these movies, it's these fucking up in the sky. It's just like this beautiful scenery and all that. And I guess they're trying to capture the the idealism of being a pilot, of flying in the great blue yonder and all this stuff, and how wonderful it is. It's like I want to see a gritty version of this. Like I want to see a scary version of this.
The only thing that comes close to it, in my opinion, and it beats out everything else, is Battle of Britain from '69. It's got some amazing scenes that show you the glory of aerial combat and then show you the tragedy of it. Like a guy goes out on his own and he's a new pilot, and then you just see a Spitfire in the water. It's like, okay, well, that's what happened. But there's a lot of cool things like that. But that's really the only film that I know of that really gets like the essence of dogfighting. If you go into the silent era, or sorry, they made it 14 times, the talkie, Hell's Angels. Those are the ones that really get close to it. But they're also using real planes, and it's all practical, and they were made 60 years ago.
Yeah, of course. But like, I yearn to see like a modern dogfight movie where the actual image of what we're looking at is like it feels real, and it doesn't feel like a, like a painting, if that makes sense.
Well, like Midway.
Yeah,
was
it
just
doesn't feel.
all,
It's just
know.
like super beautiful. Everything. It's like I don't want to see that. I want to see some shit.
I think at least for that, like I kind of get it because the Pacific is one of those like it's kind of like the desert. It's like this serene killing agent. It's like it's so vibrant and everything, and it's so horrible. So that kind of makes sense. But no, I know what you mean on a scale. It's like there are all these grandiose things.
Yeah.
And it's like no, it's soldiers in the sky. It's nitty gritty shit. And like how much can you fucking push it to the limit without getting knocked out to shoot that guy down?
Well, yeah. And I've said that like a great challenge for a director would be to do a like if they're okay for this for example, like a scenario like this where you're going to do World War I dogfights. Is it possible to do the movie to where the camera is entirely in the cockpit with the guy? Like we'll get shots like from here, and here, but we never leave his premises. We never what we see like in terms of everything going on around us is basically from the same area that he would see it.
Shoot it like Flight of the Phoenix, where like it starts with them taking off, and the whole thing is about the journey of the experience.
You're talking about
of
65 Flight of the Phoenix, right?
The original, yeah.
Okay,
I haven't seen the new one actually. But yeah, we're just I don't plan to. But like where it just starts, the plane's taking off, and you're in it, you're immersed in the experience. No fucking love interest, none of this bullshit.
No.
It's
Well,
like
none of that,
you're
but
in
like
the
no things where it's like you got the panoramics of all this shit.
Yeah.
But no, it's like no, let's stay in that confined area because it is confined, and that's how it would be.
Kind of, it's been a while since I've seen it, but they did kind of do that with Dunkirk, with the Spitfire pilot. But then he also had like 45,000 hours of flight time.
Right.
So, but he was kind of like, they did a lot of shooting from inside the cockpit. But then they also, I don't know.
What also in Dunkirk, this is the thing I was going to bring up, is he actually used short controlled bursts.
Yeah, that was cool.
So in this
90
film,
seconds of shooting.
they taught them, quote unquote, which I think the training was very under fucking
It's a montage.
mentioned. It's a montage. It's like, what the fuck? Like, these guys.
Do.
Also, what rank are these fucking guys, by the way? It's
no
never
idea.
established. But
They
like
all have
they
different
said.
tunics. Some have collars, some don't. And it's like, I was surprised by that.
Well, it's.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about the
it's-
uniforms.
So, yeah, it's the uniforms are. I don't know, so I won't comment
French,
on that. But like,
foreign volunteer uniforms get really fucking strange really quick. Like, I did a lot of research on the Harlem Hellfighters. They fought under French command. They're really fucked up gear. These guys had really fucked up gear. Colonial French troops had very interesting gear. So it's, when you get into this fringe kind of stuff, it gets very convoluted very quick. Like there was even an American expeditionary force. No, it was American Volunteer Service or something. They had their own helmet with their own insignia and stuff. That was his own like volunteer corps. or
Yeah,
whatever.
but
there's a million different random things.
the helmets were also fucking atrocious in this film, but like, we'll get to that. So what I'm saying is like the bursts in the air, right? Mm-hmm. They taught them short, controlled bursts. And they alluded to that, like in their training for the first 2 seconds. And then it was like, it's like, no, that's not a controlled burst. The controlled burst is like 5 to 7 rounds tops on your fucking target when you know you have the shot to hit something critical. And they were trained to do that. Like I've read shit about, yes, they were trained because again, like they tried to show in the film, if something gets fucked up in your machine gun, that's on you to repair, or else you're up there naked. B, you don't have unlimited ammunition. Same thing in the Second World War, but like they figured out the belt feeding system a little bit better and the guides and everything they would put. But like still, it's not guaranteed. And so when they were sitting there just going, just fucking, oh, I have a shot. It's like trained pilots, like even untrained pilots, would not do that. Because they're like, oh, I'm going to waste all my fucking ammo, and I don't know if that was a good hit. It doesn't take that many rounds to get a good fucking hit on a plane, especially when they're made out of fucking balsa wood and fucking canvas.
And they're moving
right?
slow. Yeah.
Very slow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, so the DR-1 was a little bit more maneuverable than the, again, Brian, you're going to have to remind me, the French plane.
Newport.
Newport.
Like the
Okay.
cigarette.
Yeah, Newport. Okay, I'll remember that. It's just a little bit more maneuverable, but like still, it's like again they wanted to make it a World War II dogfight film where it was like everything was going super fast. No, also hitting ground targets was not the fucking objective of pilots in the First World War. It was not. It was not. Pilots mainly, like to begin with, and then this is where it started escalating, is like you're gonna just run over the enemy lines and you might get shot at by rifles and whatever, small arms. You need to reconnoiter this area. We just need to know what the fuck is over there. That's it. And then so pilots would be doing the same thing. In the first part of the First World War, they would just fly past each other and like wave because it was a respect thing. Like, oh, you have the balls to fly this fucking thing? So do I. This death trap. Okay. Well, then they started to realize that like, okay, well, they just realized where artillery was. They knocked it out. Not good. Or, vice versa, whatever. And they just realized this. They launched an assault here. They launched an attack and found our weak spot. Blah, blah. So then the pilots would start carrying sidearms up there. Not for if they crashed, because if they crashed, it was very honorable thing. Like even the ground troops would be like, okay, you're a prisoner now, but like, hey, you're an officer. We're going to take you back.
Yeah, and, like what we saw in The Grand Illusion.
That film kept coming through my head, and I was like, when was that made?
Yeah, well, that's actually how most of the contact with pilots were in the First World War on all sides. It was a kind of agreed upon thing. These guys are fucking, they're not just officers, they're like, kind of like.
They're modern day knights.
They're knights, yes, like you said in the film. They're kind of celebrities, and it's like, okay, cool, we got a pilot. But anyway, these guys would start literally like at the end of this shitty fucking film, start shooting at each other with pistols to like down the other pilots because they're like, well, I don't want him to see where my guys are, so I'm gonna just fly up nice and close, say hey, start shooting, and then they started carrying grenades, and they would drop them on enemy positions, and like it escalated from there. But like when this film starts, it's like mid to late 1916, so that was kind of a thing, but the dogfights really didn't start happening. From what I've read, I could be wrong. Again, not an expert. Until like 1917-ish.
I think
like
late 16, early 17 is when it starts. But 15 was definitely the age of experimentation, and I think 16 was kind of.
I'm talking like the squadron dogfights, not like the individual.
Yeah, no, I know
like,
what you
one-on-one.
mean.
I'm gonna shoot this fucker down.
A lot of the Germans actually honed their skills on the Eastern Front for dogfighting, because the Russians had actually kind of a big air force. Because I know that Richthofen was on the Eastern Front for a long time. That's where he got most of his kills. And then he ended up in the West, and that's where he became famous and everything. But yeah, no, it was definitely a period of, evolution as far as using planes in warfare. And it definitely did seem more like later war tactics than everything else. And the fact that you see way more planes in the sky in every battle on either side than you do airport or pilots at each airport. Because it's like, here's 18 Newports, and then it's like, why are there 6 pilots and half of them are British?
Well,
so
there's
that.
This movie, it's funny if you're about tactics. Obviously, I don't know anything about that. But when it comes to World War I, fighters and all that stuff. But this movie, just kind of like what I was saying about what's it called, the Tuskegee Airmen movie, Red Tails. Yeah. Directed by George Lucas, and it seems like Star Wars and all that, and also Midway's the same thing. This was also kind of like that, where it's like, we got to go get the big, we got to shoot down the big ship. There's a part where they have to shoot down a bomb. We got to go shoot down a big bomber. We got to go shoot down the Zeppelin. Like, it was that kind of thing of the, that you see in Star Wars, where like the little ship goes up against the Leviathan, or the
meanwhile
ship.
I think it's Wings. They have that crazy Zeppelin scene that's filmed in blue light and like fucking explodes, and it's this crazy shit. And meanwhile, here it's just like, oh, it's the evil guys bombing Paris.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
It's so funny though. Like, one thing I do know a little bit about with World War One in the sky is that the airships that was like a new concept, and it was like they could never get it to work right. They could never really understand. The only advantage really was that they could be up in the sky for fucking a long time. But other than that, like, they're so slow, they're so big. I mean, the enemy's gonna see them from a mile away. They can shoot them down, and
that's the thing, is they would have never made it because they had Paris like in the fucking like probably like 2 clicks away in the periphery.
Yeah,
it's like So at first there was a couple Zeppelins that went way above what they thought humans could go, like vertically, and they dropped a couple bombs on London. So that scared the shit out of the British, and then they said, "Oh, these fucking things could hit anywhere." That's where that came from. That was very early on, though, before
Right.
like the planes and everything.
They were like
came
they
out,
weren't
so.
used that much, right? Like not that much at all.
Zeppelins,
Yeah.
as far as like the role in this
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
In 1916,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
no fucking way.
I was wrong. It was actually Hell's Angels that has the Zeppelin part.
Oh, okay.
But one cool thing that I do know is that, so yes, they did bomb London, and that freaked a lot of people out. Do you know the countermeasure that they did to make sure it didn't happen again? So I guess you don't. So what they did was that there's a lake to the north of London, and I'm not sure the actual lake or everything, but basically they had a blackout at night, and in the middle of the lake they put fucking like rows of streets, and what would happen is that Germans would show up and they would see the lights and they would bomb the lights. Like, we're close enough, and that's it. So they didn't end up really bombing the city for the subsequent raids. They just bombed this lake. They actually found bombs in the lake from the war before, like they're in museums and whatever.
Because they hand dropped them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep,
But
yep.
It's pretty funny. That's, it didn't work in the Second World War, obviously, because you have much more formations and things. But like one random plane, like big giant airship wandering over, it's like just light the lake up. They'll bomb that, and that was their way to get around it. Pretty ingenious.
Put a bunch of lights on the ground.
Yeah, it's just like it was so inefficient. The Germans stopped that practice pretty quick when they started losing a lot of them for nothing gained.
And like like imagine just how much one of those would cost to build, and how long it would take.
Well, it's a lot because they're made out of this this animal skin. It's a membrane of an animal. It's like a cow membrane. I forgot the name. Brian, can you look this up really quick? There's a name for it, like the material that the Zeppelins were actually constructed out of, because to handle the hydrogen gas that would allow them to float, and they had a couple cupolas below there.
Well, the other thing, I'll look this up, is, what do you call it? So, unfortunately, the whole world know what it looks like when a fucking Zeppelin goes up because of the famous footage from the 30s. Which
Right.
The
Hindenburg.
Yeah. Yep. Long story, random insert, but my uncle, he was in the city at that time, and he remembers seeing it fly over the city and head towards New Jersey. So he was probably one of the last people to see it flying. He's like huge swastikas. But long story short, everyone knows what it looks like, and it's horrible, And in this film, it's not that at all.
No, it blows up
Literally,
like a Star Wars spaceship. Yeah.
Yep. You literally have like the best footage you'll ever have of a fucking airship going up in flames in the sky. And what do? The complete opposite of that. It's like, oh my God, it's like somebody like, we're going to make 9/11 with 3 planes. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's the video evidence exists. So, Zeppelin Fabric.
Yeah, there was a name for this kind of skin. It was a membrane of like cow skin, and it took a lot of fucking money and a lot of resources to like put it on there. It's what the fuck is it called?
I just imagine like if just seeing this actually happen, like a biplane fly into a Zeppelin and just like crashes into pieces and just bounces off, doesn't even explode the whole thing.
Oh, well, yeah. Who knows? Like the skin was tough, but it wasn't like invincible. Like it might have bounced off.
Right. But like with a Zeppelin, it's like a metal frame with that fabric, and then it has the balloons inside it.
Oh, it's a wood frame.
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty
wood
sure.
frame. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
I just realized that George Lucas is the only person, as far as I know, to put 2 Zeppelins in movies. Because there's one technically it's his, but it was his idea for Indiana Jones.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this. So there's one man that has put Zeppelins in more than one film.
George Lucas didn't do this Flyboys.
No, but isn't his... Oh, I'm thinking of fucking...
Red Tails.
Red Tails.
Yeah.
Dirt. Yeah, well, I'm an idiot. But anyway.
It's okay.
So
I don't know.
We're all idiots, Brian. That's why we're doing this fucking podcast.
I don't know if there's a Zeppelin in Red Tails, but I'm going to say probably not.
Well, no, there's the World War II Zeppelin. It's an ME-262.
Yeah. Did you happen to come across the name of that that material that they used?
It said it was heavy.
It's like
canvas
silver
fabric.
skin or some.
So.
It's fucking weird. But it was a very specific, like very expensive material that they use, and so you lose one of those. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's so much time and effort, and material and money spent.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why they stepped in there. But like the fact that they just wanted to prove they could hit London, it was a psychological thing, and it worked.
Well, like the Paris gun too, you know.
Right.
It's like,
Exactly.
hey,
Well, exactly.
We're within range,
yes.
motherfucker. So
Yeah, we can hit you. Not going to be accurate, but it's scary.
Yep. It was interesting too. So I swear to God, I'd have to rewatch it, but I don't want to do that. But during some of like dogfighting scenes, there was car rev noises for the engine.
Oh yeah.
Like I literally heard. I'm like, a radial is completely different than a fucking V8.
Oh, radio's way
it
louder.
sounded
Yeah.
at points like fucking GTA.
Dude, it's stock
for shit.
like motor sounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, literally. I should not be hearing a camshaft right now.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like
No,
yeah,
it's
there are
literally
certain scenes.
just like it's like how they when they make monster noises for movies, how they'll take like a billion animals and put them together and then like layer them and shit. It's like that, but with like motorcycle and like truck sounds that they did for the engines in this movie.
And it's so shitty. And okay, so let's talk about like the interaction and like the actual acting as like when they're on the ground. Okay.
The acting actually like wasn't that bad. It wasn't horrible. I mean, they were people
think
in
it
a
was
world
bad?
interacting. It's not bad for what it is, for what they were attempting to do in the context of the whole campiness of the film. Like it wasn't just like, oh my god, because at the end of the day, I mean, whatever, you could say what you want about James Franco, but he is a professional in his craft. He's gotten far enough to
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's
whatever.
good. Hillary Clinton's a professional. Doesn't mean she's
well,
good.
different. But like, what I'm trying to say
I'm
is
just
that, like,
just saying, yeah.
they're qualified actors, and they did a job for this. Now,
I just
they
thought
did-
I think the casting was not good for. Okay, not for all of them. I will say this. I'll just caveat. Not for all of them. James was not in his element on this film.
No,
That's
because
what I'm gonna say.
he's totally out of his element, because this is the
Right.
guy from fucking Pineapple Express, and then here we go.
That's the thing.
So-
It's like lighter fucking films, but like, and also like the guy that they thought was a spy. I forgot his fucking name.
The
'cause he's
blonde
that
dude,
forgettable.
the hook. Yeah.
Yeah, and the German guy, like the fucking Black Falcon, the guy, like it's just like the stereotypical like mediocre shit.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I say. It's old school. Like it's old school, but it's put into a 21st century film.
I have in my notes here, they were knights, not Nazis. Like when we had talked about earlier about like how they were so revered and they were pilots and stuff. And I'm not saying that somebody didn't strafe, a pilot on the ground or whatever, but like,
Well,
no.
oh, Deb, thank you for reminding me about that shit show. No, here's the thing: is they did, especially in 1916, before shit got really fucking. I mean, it was real at that point, but like, it had not been dragging on for 4 fucking years at that point. So that shit, in my professional opinion, in the First World War, knowing how flyers were, that would not have fucking happened. He would have been like, okay, he's on the ground. I shot him down. That's it. They're going to capture him or he escapes. Big fucking deal. That's not that those kind of tropes. Okay. And so with the acting, the French officers,
Just to bring up this great movie again, which we reviewed, you should watch. Illusions of Grandeur. What happens when they're shot down? They're respected. Let's have a
Delusions
meal
of
together.
Grandeur?
The Grand Illusion.
The Grand Illusion.
I was like,
Now-
have we watched
now-
that one? Did I miss something? What the fuck?
We're gonna drop our third album, Seasons of Change this fall.
All right. So yeah, the Grand Illusion. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, but like in that you have
Jesus
the respect, a mutual respect of like.
And that's how it was.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was saying earlier. Is like flyers in the First World War were considered like again like kind of celebrities. Like they're
During
holy
and
shit,
after.
I met a flyer. Like holy fuck. And so okay, again with that, the French officers, the way they acted when James Franco's character takes a fucking plane that's owned by the French military, the French government, and just randomly peruses around, goes to see his chick, who's a solid 7'7", I would say. Not bad. I liked her. She's a good looking girl. But like
Our
anyway,
sockers are
go
cool.
7'8" then. Fuck you.
Oh, okay.
Just to spite your ass, Brian. But no, she's good looking girl. But anyway, it's like he goes and flies there just willy nilly. It's like no. And then all of a sudden, he's on this rescue mission, and it's fucking like, and then he gets like sort of reprimanded, and they're like, "Oh, I forgot to sign that." Come on, come the fuck on. He would have been reprimanded and put in the fucking stockade. There's no question. Like the French they're pretty fucking disciplined in their military, especially at that point. And it's like, what the fuck? And then, you know, especially when he's going to do this rescue mission, like, oh, somehow he kills his engine 100 feet away from the fucking runway or the field that he's going to land on, and the Germans magically just didn't hear a fucking Newport, you know, from fucking 300 fucking or 3 miles away.
Man, I can smell a Newport from like a mile away. So
well, yeah, chest pounders, they're good stuff. But like, they can't hear a fucking airplane in the middle of nowhere just coming in randomly and then killing its engine, and then the when it lands, and then they're just caught off guard. And then, I mean, give me a fucking break. That was such bullshit. Like, I was sitting there, I was literally shaking my head. I'm like, this is so stupid. I can't even do this anymore. And the dumb Germans, you know. And also, okay, quick, let's backtrack really quick, and then I'll stop with my rant. So, well, no, I won't, because it's around the same time is when what's his name gets his hand cut underneath the thing, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're led to believe this is very late 1916, probably early 1917, right? When that happens, right?
I think so.
And yet the Germans are wearing Pickelhauben.
Yeah, I noticed that.
oh yeah, that's a good point.
Dude, the Battle of the Somme, unless you're in a fucking reserve unit, not on the front, those things are not being worn at all. At all. Like, I mean, seriously. And especially mixed in. Like, they tried to make it look like it was like 1915. Like maybe early 1916. Dude, they're going to be wearing Stahlhelme. And the French helmets were also 1926. Adrian helmets, probably Belgian, actually, because they're cheaper. Painted up, and they had the fucking, the insignia on the front, the badges, like, gold or brass. No fucking way, dude. And then the dramatic, like, death scenes and shit like that. It was just like, you didn't even fucking try. You got the color of the French uniform somewhat correct. The Germans are wearing gray. But, like, that's all you give a shit about. And it's like, come on. Like,
I think
good God. Like, just...
I think there were a couple. I think it kind of switched a little bit. I think there were a couple of the M16 Stahlhelms, if I remember right.
No, it was half and half.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they were like mixed
in that scene. Yeah. No, but it should have been 100%.
Right, of course.
They're at that point by late 19, especially after the Battle of the Somme in June of, or was it July? No, it was
July 1st started.
July 1st. Yes. So July 1st, 1916, the Germans showed up wearing Stahlhelme, and they had most of their guys equipped that were on the front line by about August. You see guys in reserve, like way back, reserve trenches, wearing Pickelhauben, but also they would not be wearing the spike at that point, because in 15 the order came around to remove the spike and just wear it as like a hat, because it would give away your position when you're moving the trench, blah, blah, blah. So they didn't even bother doing it. They were just like, oh, we're going to have the spiked hat, and it's going to look great.
That's the thing.
That's World War I Germans, you know. It's like, well, okay, in 15, sure, I'll believe it. But also in 15, none of this shit would be happening, so hey. Like, yeah, it's 4 years, but it's very important to know the idiosyncrasies of all those years and all those uniform changes and gear changes from all sides, not just the Germans, not just the French, not just the British, everyone, because it changed so rapidly, because they were like, oh, this is the new style of warfare, so we need to adapt immediately. And so, you know, you're going to see that in 4 years, a lot changed as far as military gear. They just went on what they thought it should look like on the ground. And I'm pretty sure, like, people that are listening that know about the air service uniforms will probably say the same thing, because, again, what rank are these guys?
I'm sure for those battle scenes, those trench scenes, it was like, all right, call up a bunch of reenactors. Send out a call to a bunch of reenactors to come and bring your World War I stuff. And like a million of them, they never said what time it was supposed to be. So just anyone who showed up just brought whatever they had. So you get like...
Maybe.
Yeah, you know.
But
like,
you didn't see any 400-pounders. I didn't see any 400-pounders rolling out there. You know, like, so maybe who knows? Like,
I don't know. Do you get the fat fucks in England too for the reenacting?
Oh, everywhere there's reenactors. Again, when I go to reenactments, I'm like, God, I'm kind of self-conscious about my weight, because, you know, I'm whatever. And I go, holy fuck, man.
You look like an Adonis compared to the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I look like a fine specimen compared to some of these guys, and I'm like, you can barely walk, and you're wearing a fucking SS uniform, or you're wearing a fucking stormtrooper uniform from World War One. Like, what are you doing here? Like, come on.
That's a good point.
So,
there were that you didn't. I didn't see any 500-pounders either, so I don't know. But that's just kind of that's just kind of what it seems like, though. It's like just bring a hodgepodge of World War One shit, whatever, you know.
Well, that's the thing is like whoever their advisor was, did not do a good job.
Yeah.
At all. Like it was, they had G98s, which was okay, and the French actually had Lebel 1886-93s, which was okay. They also had a shitload of covers on by 1916. Probably wouldn't have happened yet, but okay, I can forgive that. And also, a lot of the French were just wearing their tunics and their trousers. That's not the case. When you're on the front line, when you're a poilu, you're going to be wearing your greatcoat. You know, it's part of your equipment. And for a reason, because it's an actual useful part of your gear. Practical nowadays, probably not, but like at the time it was. And it's just like they did 10% of it. Okay? They looked into it 10%. They looked into it, you know, as much as they could, and they were like, good enough. It's like, dude, okay. And then here's the thing is, honest to God, the average fucking viewer is not going to be able to tell a difference at all because the French are wearing blue, the Germans are wearing gray, and the pilots are wearing leather flying jackets, which is correct. Okay? At the very macro level. That's very correct. It's just that there's a lot of tropes in here. And it's just like fucking...
Yeah. One trope that I want to point out that I don't think I've ever seen pointed out, and I'm not saying this did not happen, but I've never ever read like an account of something like this happening, but it's in a number of war movies and war documentaries that I've seen. And that is the whole thing of, hey, if we get hit, the vehicle is going to burn up. So here's a pistol to blow your brains out if that happens. I've seen that in this movie now. I've seen it in Fury. I've seen that I remember a documentary where a German tank man did that. It was like a recreation. I see that all the time. The whole thing of like, oh yeah, the vehicle's going to burn up. So this is the easy way out. It's in the Das Boot TV show, which sucks, by the way.
Yeah,
dude, I couldn't make it past 10 minutes into that. It was just...
Yeah, it's terrible. But I've seen that to where it's like, oh, here's our sidearm in case it catches on fire, we're going to commit suicide.
That was in Pearl Harbor, too.
Yeah. So it's in a lot of shit, and I agree with you. And here's the thing is, I'm going to say the three words that most fucking people don't say. I don't know. It could have happened.
Yeah. As far as tanks are concerned, I mean, in Fury, it was only because the guy was burning up. I've never met a tanker that was like going to kill themselves because you're going to burn up anyway. You have 5 seconds to get out of a vehicle before it goes up. That's it during the war. So like, you know, if your canteen gets stuck on something, you're going to burn. Like that's it. You really don't have time while you're burning and flailing to shoot yourself in the head. So that's that case. As far as pilots are concerned, I mean, yeah, it was a commonly known fact that during the Battle of Britain that your holster for your Webley was your fucking flight boot because you couldn't carry anything, you know, into the cockpit. And that if you had to, it was there. Now, how many times it happened? Who the fuck knows? Because all those guys died. But it was a myth and a rumor that went around.
That's what I was going to say.
To touch on the subject as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
During the First World War, parachutes did exist. And there were some guys that wore them toward the end of the war. But it was, again, you modern knights and things. It was viewed as
very experimental
in a way. And, yeah, it was also very experimental. Yep. But, like, yeah, so in a World War I context, I mean, it makes more sense. Because literally, it's you fall out, you burn up, or you shoot yourself. But I think it's really overdone. You know, it's kind of like the piano wire thing during World War II, where like the Germans put piano wire across the roads. They 100% did. I met veterans talk about driving around the wire cutters panged every now and then.
Well, they still do that shit in insurgencies around the world.
Because it works. But like, you know. I've met 3 guys out of hundreds that say, yeah, I actually heard a twang once. How many? There's 60 million GIs. So, like, it's just one of those things that just extrapolates into stuff.
Well, it's also example,
like... every German tank is a Tiger.
Yeah.
Everyone. Right. You know?
But no, Brian, what you just said is, like, it's also relevant to the pilots in the First World War. Is like, in a tank, you've got 5 seconds to get the fuck out of Dodge, if you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
If it's not an ammo rack hit and it's not immediately going off, right? Mm-hmm. So... with the planes, it's like you have to make a decision. You either try to land it or remember somehow in your brain that somebody told you a few months or a few weeks back rather that, you know, if you're going down, just shoot yourself because it's the easy way out instead of this painful death, which is also gonna be very quick if you're going down. And so it's like that's where I draw the line. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to confirm or deny that that's bullshit. But just from like the evidence that we see, it's like put yourself in the cockpit of one of these planes that's spinning out of control. And there was a lot of guys, a lot of pilots in the First World War that actually landed their out of control planes, right? But I'm sure there was a lot of them that hit the ground and fucking it was done. And then, but like, who knows?
The funny thing is that, well, I'll tell you this guy's story later. But what do you call it? You know, a car today has crumple zones. So when you get in an accident, everything gets absorbed, the energy, and then you walk away. You might destroy your car, but you live. 50, 60 years ago, all the energy gets transferred into you. You know, you are fucked because you're in the steel fucking strong structure and you are the weak piece of flesh that gets thrown around the interior and dies from internal hemorrhaging. World War I, you know, planes back then were very fragile, but in a way they had crumple zone effect. They were fragile but sturdy. It was funny. Like, you know, sometimes you could hit a tree and lose part of a wing and still manage to make it home.
Yeah.
Or other times, like a guide wire would just break on its own, your wing would collapse and you die. Like, they were very fragile things, but there were some funny leeways with them that, you know, in certain circumstances, you could just make the impossible happen.
It's the engine.
But at the same token, it's a plane that's made out of wood and fabric that's painted. So if it does really burn, it's not going to be long before it collapses. So realistically, if you're in a plane that's going up, like let's say your wing strut's on fire or something, do you really have time to
think,
to react, and to pull a pistol and fight the G-forces to shoot yourself? Mm-hmm. I mean, anything's possible if you really attempt it, but who knows?
Well, the reason why I bring it up is just because like this time when I watched it, I just thought kind of like, you know, other things from, you know, war, like another one that I always say is ridiculous is the because I do a lot of D-Day research and stuff like that. One that I hear all the time that's all, you know, anecdotal shit is the captain pulling out his pistol and threatening the boat driver, you know, like take the boat all the way in. Like that's another one that I hear a lot that I've never seen any real, like an actual story of that happening.
Wasn't there a reference in The Dead and Those About to Die about somebody threatening to throw hand grenades at a coxswain?
There might have been. I've only read that book once. I got to go back and read it again. There is a one of the in the first ID sector in the first wave on one of the Higgins boats, someone's smoke grenade went off in the boat and just basically fried the whole thing. And there's a photo of it where it's taken from another Higgins boat and it's just like smoke and everyone was like, oh my God, it got hit. It's like, no, some idiot set off his smoke grenade.
That's funny.
But
I've seen that in real life, not in a Higgins boat, but I've seen that does and yeah.
Oh, it happened to a buddy of mine. He had a smoke in his pocket. It went off, and we were on the side of a cliff. And he was like, "Ah, motherfucker!" He started dancing. We're like, "Dude, you're gonna die!" And he was like, "I'm on fire!" And he's like smoking and ripping shit off.
They still don't have fucking safety clips on those things.
Yeah,
they still don't.
Dude, he literally ripped the pocket off of his jungle, like with his brute force to get it off.
Good lord!
Like, it was
some guy lit a fucking M18 off in our fucking circus tent in Florida when we were doing pre-mobilization training in 2009, and purple smoke. I remember that, and it's like, what the fuck? And yeah, he had
Jimi Hendrix.
Luckily, Purple Haze.
Yeah.
But luckily he recognized that as it was going off, and he was holding it, and they're fucking hot when they burn. Yep. And he ran out of the fucking tent and threw it out, you know, into the whatever, and he got destroyed for that. But like, I don't know how the fuck it happens. It's like they don't have a safety clip on it. They still don't.
It's funny. They have safety clips on grenades, but you know.
Like frag grenades. Yeah, it's just fucking insane.
Just one random thing to interject, and then we'll jump into IMF.
Yeah, no worries.
So this is a story I have not been able to confirm, and I was told to me from a very respected person that I trust, and everything else from them has been totally true. But this comes from a war correspondent that was attached to the Second Airborne in Normandy, and he was in the operation, and he noticed that when he was on the ground in the morning of the 6th, there would be some planes that would fly over, and they were way too low. They killed the whole stick of paratroopers. But then the last guy would jump out, and then the cockpit would explode and the plane crashed. And this happened about 4 times. And he was like, what the fuck? These planes keep getting hit, right after the last guy jumps out. And his guard, because these guys were assigned guards and stuff, especially in the paratrooper operations because they're behind enemy lines, was like, oh, no. What happens is the jump master, his job is to, make sure everyone gets out of the plane.
Yeah.
And if he sees, because this is only a Second Airborne thing because they had been in Sicily and Salerno, they had combat experience. The 101st had nothing.
Exactly.
So he was like, if the jump master sees that the pilot is flying too low to avoid flak and kills the stick, what the jump master will do is before he jumps out of the plane, he'll throw a hand grenade into the pilot's cockpit to kill the pilots because they killed 20 men. And then he will then jump out and die. And that was apparently a thing in this regiment of the 82nd. And I've not been able to confirm it at all, but the source is legit. And it makes sense in a way. And I'd love to maybe see if that's true, but that's something else, that you hear. So
I would. That's definitely new to me. I never heard that.
Spiteful paratroopers killing pilots because they killed men. I 100% see that happening. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like a history mystery that I'd like to figure out if it's really bullshit or not. But if it didn't come from this person, I'd be like, yeah, okay, buddy, yeah, but because it's a really good source that everything else has been true. I'm like, I don't know.
Here's that photo
still out there.
that I was just talking about.
Oh yeah, I definitely seen that.
Oh
yeah.
It's funny.
Fucking retard.
Right. So these
a
guys
very
are
famous
just
photo,
getting doused with this shit. But yeah.
I like the lieutenant in the front's like, fucking
This
goddamn
guy
it.
right
Getting out of it.
he's like trying to get over. Yeah, a lot of people. This photo is usually captioned as a boat hit off Omaha Beach. It's like no, it's someone's smoke grenade went off.
No, some retard.
You got to put that in
fucking
your movie.
Yeah. So that's documented in the dead or those about to die.
And that's okay. So if that's just been going on since World War II with smoke grenades,
Yep.
because the M18 was around at this time. Why the fuck didn't we have safety clips on our fucking M18s?
They've been around that
When
long.
I was in
It's
the
just
late 2000s.
something
But what the fuck? Like, come on. There are safety clips on a fucking M67, on an M61. It's like, on a frag grenade, but it's like, oh, well. Dude, if you pop smoke, if you're on a fucking tactical operation, I don't care where you are, from World War II on, you the pin pulls, you pop smoke, there's your position, bud. So why the fuck didn't they put a safety clip on those smoke grenades? It's like, what? I mean, because, again, I've witnessed it, and it's like, what, you'd think after fucking, 75 years?
Right?
80 years now. Or no, longer than that. But, like, what the hell are you doing?
Right. Well,
smoke grenades aren't dangerous. Yeah, the fuck they are.
I mean, they get fucking they get fucking hot, right?
Oh, dude, they get, they will, you could fry bacon on those fucking things. And also, it gives away your position.
Right, yeah.
It's a lot of smoke in a very short amount of time. It's a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And it stinks, and it's just whatever, like, I don't make the decisions. I'm not that high up on the chain.
Maybe now that we've said it, someone who works in fucking ordnance
they
whatever.
They won't.
We'll take note.
They fucking won't. Oh my God, no. No, nobody has that amount of brains or fucking actually giving. These fucking people that make the decisions like that, these fucking retards, they've never.
Market research has shown that
the last time they fucking handled a weapon or whatever was in basic training or boot camp or, because Marines, Navy, whatever. And they don't give a shit. They're like, oh, smoke grenade? It's just a smoke grenade. It's like, you've never fucking handled one. You don't know what it entails, you fucking clown. You bureaucratic piece of shit. You don't understand it. So that's why you're never going to make the fucking change. Just put a goddamn safety clip or what they call a jungle clip on it. It's like, that's it. It's one extra step, and it would save a lot of that shit from going off. And you'd save money, from whatever. Anyway, I don't make the decisions, so fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
All right, Bri,
to,
you got IMFDB?
yeah.
No, he's looking up something in his book.
I want to look.
Oh, you want to look up the part?
Yeah, I want to remember it correctly. Yeah. So, but yeah, let's jump to IMFDB.
By the way, just really quick, don't have to get into it again. I think that story is bullshit about the grenade in the cockpit. But anyway,
that's fine. But I don't know. Like I said, if it didn't come from this one source,
exactly. But also, they can remember shit
question
wrong.
It.
That's the thing. Is even if you just get one thing wrong, it's like.
No, listen. I know exactly what you're saying, but it's just one of those things where it's out there, and if you contextualize it in the right way, it makes sense.
And maybe it happened once. Here's the thing: is maybe it happened once. Maybe the guys got hit in '88. Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
We'll
But
look it
yeah,
up
it's a
together.
great book.
Anyway, yeah, let's just move on. Yep.
Yeah, so let me share my screen for around
You two little book buddies now. That's so cute.
Dude, this is a great book.
It is. No, it is really good. I actually am. I think I'm Facebook friends with this guy, John McCannis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked his. I only read it once a while ago. But he's got really good writing.
He's pretty
It's
good.
very easy to follow. So,
Dude, someday I have to specialize in something because I just cannot find something that like
what
I
do you
go
mean?
that far in. Like I don't know. I'm just like fucking
No,
all over the place as far as like knowledge and research.
Like how
and-
I hone in on Omaha.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You actually have one thing I don't like.
Do you know how many
Anyways,
books I've read for this documentary project so far?
I don't care, Brian. I know it's gonna be like yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
gonna say double digits, and I was right.
I don't think I'll be able to read all of them I have by the time we do it, but I'll be able to read them in post.
Yes.
I probably have another 30 more to read. I've literally found everything about the New Guinea campaign.
I have almost
my God.
every book on Omaha, but
Oh, well, me and Mike were talking about Omaha today, and he sent me these crazy photos. And he was showing me, like, he had a reference of a record that was in a lot of the photos. And I'm like, dude, you have to, like, know every single photo from the fucking, thing to, like, realize that, oh, that record was parked at this point, so I can use it as a reference.
Yeah.
because
Right,
whatever, it was there for a
exactly,
few
yeah.
days. That's so cool. It's like somebody's grandfather, like, fucking, lost the keys for it or whatever for a few days. And now we're using that as a standpoint to, like, do research.
oh,
It's
absolutely
just
no.
fucking
I've had a
awesome.
couple guys whose fathers were on Omaha, and they've sent me like photos that they actually took there, and I'm like, yeah, I know exactly where that
So
is.
cool.
And they're like, really, you know where that is? Like, yeah, I can tell you what that and is. Yeah, so yeah.
That's cool. It's like when you oversaturate yourself with the subject. Literally, if you just get like one sentence of new information from a book, it's worth it. It's worth the whole experience because you're adding to this picture, And it's really funny when you like oversaturate on one little subject, like Omaha Beach or First Marine Division. It's like you just get these overlapping stories and you build this amazing photo, picture. It's like you got to read.
Yeah.
The more you'll never be able to do enough research to really fully understand it because we'll die well before you read all the references and stuff. But like the more you read, the more you get it, the more little things you'll pick out that you'll be able to paint an amazing picture than reading one book that somebody misrepresents something or whatever.
Dude, I find discrepancies in authors' shit all the time when it comes to
Oh my
Omaha
God.
stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's like doing forensics sometimes. You're like, okay,
It really
yeah.
is.
Well, it's being a historian.
Yeah.
It's doing the empirical method of like you take a shitload of sources, primary, secondary, and the less great ones, and then you compile them all together and figure out what's consistent and what you believe to be consistent based on your research of like documents and all that shit. And then you have to fucking sift through all that shit and figure out, okay, well, yeah, that record was here. And so that's where it's facing. That it was on here, blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, it's just so intricate.
The
what you
funniest
gotta
thing
do.
that I found was I was reading so many memoirs from the 1st Marine Division that stories were lining up where it would be like a replacement after Peleliu would be like, oh, there was one night the Strangler came past our tent and, there was the Strangler that was on Peleliu that was killing people and yada, yada, you. And then like 4 memoirs later, you read about a canal vet who was like, yeah, Joe and F Company, he used to go around to replacements and fucking like throw shit in their tents at night and make them feel like there was a strangler around. So like this one guy lived his whole life of being like afraid about this one memory because he's a replacement. In reality, it was a guy from another company fucking with new guys, But you have to read all the books to like get the context to be like, oh, you get the full
It's like
picture.
you solved a
We just
mystery.
yeah, literally. It's like, oh my, there was like a few of those where it's just like they all talked about the same things because guys on the same island, whatever. And then it's like, holy shit, from like 6 different memoirs, you get the full picture of like, oh wow, that's a lie, that's a conjecture, that's a whatever. It's just funny, but you have to do the research to get there.
Which they did not fucking do for this film.
No, to tie it back in,
No,
hell
not by a
no.
long shot.
So let's go through this.
They did not do
yes.
this.
So yes, guys, we are in IMFDB, and let's start. So Lewis gun, so you see 1 or 2 of them. They did mount them on top of the wings.
Really quick.
Sorry, I just like you said, yeah, there's like 1 or 2 of them. Then I just kind of imagined you just and moving on. So, like, what else needs to be said?
Yeah, right.
Lewis Gunn's in the movie.
They did pull them down though from that. There was like a whole mechanism where you could pull it down to like your height to reload it. On the Newports, it's very interesting. But I was not all the Newports had them too, and I'm not sure if that was different per plane. But no, that was neat to see. I love a Lewis gun. Vickers and stuff. And I saw Hotchkiss. Oh, where's the
1940
Hotchkiss?
It was
Yeah,
it was on a tripod. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, they're like repairing it. It's not. I don't think they mounted those very much to planes because they were so cumbersome.
That's a Lewis. It's a Lewis. That's a Vickers.
Yep.
That's a Vickers.
There was a Hotchkiss
Oh.
14.
Fucking really?
No,
See the barrel.
they didn't get the right. They didn't get the right screen cap. But like I saw it in there. It was like
Okay.
it was in a
Yep.
panning shot. It wasn't being used at all. But like yeah,
That's
it
a
was-
recoil mech for the Vickers. Oh, dirt.
You talking about that
Oh,
spring
interesting.
in the front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a little cowling that goes over
Yeah.
it. And that was strange. They had Vickers on French planes. I'm not sure how correct that was.
I don't know either.
Yeah, the whole training scene. That was okay. I mean,
It was.
I like the
I
training
don't
where like
know.
they had the different planes and stuff. A little bit.
They're like, let's
but-
montage through this shit.
Yeah, right. And the one Vickers was interesting too. And the fact that they had the fucking huge sights. I'm pretty sure they didn't have those anti-aircraft sights on the planes.
I don't know.
Again, I don't know either. Yeah.
Yeah.
New. So now we're getting into the trench stuff.
Yes, it's like they just wanted to have a trench scene, so here's the trench scene. And shit like that did happen every now and then, where like fucking, they had to land in.
Those helmets
but-
actually don't look that bad.
They actually did have Vickers guns on Newport, so I was wrong. Interesting.
Can you blow up that picture really quick of the Krauts
Yes,
and
I love the gun sight on the MG08. That was cool that they're not using it.
He's just looking over the top.
That the lug in the middle
Oh.
helmet's bent. That's funny.
Yeah, the middle helmet's a repro for sure. The one on the right's a repro. The one on the left is
I hate that. It just looks like somebody dropped dirt on it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're
it's
good.
Shiny
It's
as hell underneath.
Yeah, it's dry mud.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Hey, I'm sure it was a fun day on set.
Yeah, right.
Everyone, bring your World War II shit. We'll have a
also they don't. Okay, pull that picture up. I was still analyzing it. Yeah, they don't have
Sorry,
regimental
Joe.
numbers on their epaulets. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. He's wearing white straps too.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I was gonna comment on. No fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
In World War One, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
The guy on the left, never. I won't have you go back to the photo. Sorry, I was like,
no.
I think
we're
the guy
here.
on the left. I
Going
think
back.
maybe he has the bread bag strap over his shoulder, but
No, that was a white
that's
strap.
a white strap
It
too.
was a white
Okay,
strap.
because the one
Yeah,
I
it's
can
a white
definitely
strap.
tell in the center.
See how it's tapered?
Yeah.
Bread bag straps are very thin.
Oh yeah, they're an inch. That's a cool
Yeah.
look though. I love it. MG850 Spandau. Oh, that was something I wanted to mention. He tells them 9mm.
9mm,
like,
yeah, it's like
yeah,
well,
no.
they're 8mm, but hey.
I love the look of the aerial Maxims or the MG8s.
That-
Oh yeah,
That,
the air cleared fucking
Oh,
shrouds,
so
all the
cool.
holes.
Yeah, like they didn't have to make them that size. Like yeah, they could have made a whole other system, but they just decided to make.
They made it the
shrouds
same
that were
size
holding
as the water jacket. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the MG13 actually didn't have that, but yeah, they chose to go with these, which is fine.
It's a very diesel
I used to-
punk type look.
There's this great video game called Rise of Flight, which is a World War I flight sim, and it's amazing. And like you literally have to start your own plane and fly and whatever. And but they have these MG8s and stuff, and your guns would jam every now and then, and it's just fucking insane. But I just love it. And there's nothing like two machine guns chattering in front of you and seeing the fucking charging handles fly back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like oh that's cool as fuck.
Like on the Vickers, I was like,
Oh yeah, I have a Maxim whenever I shoot it and I see the fucking arm go back and I'm like, my knuckles are not gonna get broken. I hope. Like it's so cool. Oh, the Lebel.
It's 693, but hey.
Covers, yeah. I think it's the one scene where they get bombed or whatever.
Yeah.
I show the civilians.
They're also strafing a
That's a
fucking.
Laffy.
Yeah, they're strafing
They would not
refugees
do
or whatever.
that shit.
Yeah, like
they
what
would
the
not fucking do that.
It's just
That was such
it's
bullshit.
typical like make the Germans look evil. You know?
Oh yeah, it's propaganda. It's just bullshit. Yeah, they're wearing M26 helmets. Like that's.
Oh really? Oh
They're
interesting.
not even wearing fucking repro M15s, which were around then. Good
Yeah,
God.
that one.
This is where
These are like Belgian fire service helmets.
this is
that
where the
they-
movie gets lazy.
Oh nice. Yeah. There was one scene where like a guy was reloading, but he wasn't reloading, and like it was when they run
Yeah.
back into the trench. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Jesus, Proust.
It's always funny to spot extras.
That's how you shot. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah. Yeah, that's
This
firearms
guy doesn't
training
know
there.
his asshole from a hole in the ground, and the visor sucked.
Yeah. So I want to ask, because this is the only time I've ever seen this. Did the French have helmet covers like that?
Well, towards the end, some guys, but that's going to be a 17, like mid 17 thing on.
Okay.
I didn't know that. It's interesting. I
At
know
this
Brits
point-
had them. I know that Germans had
Well,
them.
also same thing, same story. And Germans use them they use them so sparingly because there was actually an order that like they were not to be used. That's why they put
They
mud
used
on
them
their
more in pickle
helmets.
helms, right?
Well, no, yeah. Here's the thing: is like they said when you're on the front, when you're on campaign rather, you will wear the Helmbezug, the helmet cover for the Pickelhauben, right? But when the Stahlhelm was introduced, they were like, no, you're not wearing a fucking cover on that. It's a unit level thing, and most of the guys were like, nope, we don't want to do that. We want to look uniform. We want to show the ferocity or whatever the fucking mindset was. You see them, yes, but not in like the numbers that movies want to portray it. So
Interesting.
same with
It's
the
a
French.
very
It's
interesting
like
look.
it's like most of the time the guys just rub mud on there, let it dry, and then fucking
Yeah.
Mostly every world, like British World War I thing I see, the Brits are always like have helmet covers.
yeah, and a
squares
couple
or
of them
whatever.
did, and the Americans did not wear them very often. Like again, it's like a 5% thing versus 95, but they want to show it in the movies. They want to be special. But
Didn't
like
they, they do that in 1917. They had covers on their helmets.
a couple of
can't
guys.
remember.
A couple
Yeah.
of them, but that's also 1917, so it's accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the fucking scenes I'm talking about. Like,
Oh yeah. So here's the G98.
yep, the Gewehr 98, and yeah, at least got the regimental numbers on the front. 93, IR 93. Okay. Also, oh my God. So yeah, they're red. So, Jesus Christ, the red
Yeah, remember the
numbers.
volunteer ones versus the
No.
regular
No. In late 1914, actually, the regimental numbers on the Helmbezug were going to be green because they switched from red to green because it was less
subdued.
visible.
Yeah.
Yep. And no, so reserve regiment would have R on the top of it and whatever like that. And some of the Landwehr, Landsturm guys, it's Landwehr at that point, but like they would have like I forgot exactly what they're insignia, but it would be just so these guys are regulars. These guys are in a regular line infantry unit in an active like unit. In late 1916, no fucking way. And especially they're wearing the chin strap, right? And also, so the guy on the left, he's got his Pickelhaube on, right? Or Pickelhaube on. He's got his chin strap up over the cover. No fucking way. When you wear the fucking cover, your chin strap is underneath that. If you choose to wear your chin strap like the guy in the middle is doing, which usually wasn't the case, okay. But good God, like, no. Oh, the guy on the right's got his fucking Feldmütze
Yeah,
on.
I saw that.
No
It's like
way.
someone has a
No
soft
fucking
cover on
way.
it.
No fucking way. Absolutely not. Jesus, yeah. So these guys, I think you were right, Mike. They just threw a bunch of and then the duck bill. Second guy from the right, the duck bill.
Oh,
Oh.
Yep,
Sell
you got
that
the
on
duck
a
bill,
auction site,
the
so.
cheap Indian piece of shit repro, and these are all repro helmets, and yeah, it's fucking not good. Just not good.
Yep.
Not good at all. So
keep going.
The shapes,
Yeah.
you know, they pay a lot.
the sheeps.
Oh, see, there's a Stahlhelm with a
helmet.
cover on it.
Yeah, it's a sandbag. It's not a helmet.
He's also not going to be in that fucking spot that's wide open. Anyway, we'll just. I don't even want to. No, if you gotta. And also, dude, zoom in on that really quick. Hold on. Is that a fucking
one?
ZF-41? The sniper one.
No, it's on a 41.
Oh, it's not even a fucking
strange.
scope that they had.
No, it's something.
The scope at the time would have been fucking. I forgot the designation, but it was fucking huge.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the burlap wrapped rifle. Okay, fine. All right, we'll move on.
Just hand,
Yeah, the
Handguns.
let me hand out
the model 1892.
the pistols so you can kill yourselves.
Right. You know.
That seems like more like
That's on 1892.
if someone had a-
That's
I was
prop.
wondering when the artist was gonna die. And it's like when.
I think that would be more of like, you know, if someone had a personal sidearm, the fact that they're
That's a prop.
the fact that they're like their commander, whoever that guy was, like hands them out like this is what pilots do. We assign you pistols to commit suicide. Like,
The duel at the end, like the fucking.
So
Yeah.
just a quick question.
yes.
Has anybody here ever been in a car? Because we're Americans, that's a yes. And because it's a 21st century, that's also a yes. So when you're in this car on like a highway, you know, you're going fast down the road, like 60, 80 miles an hour. You ever put your hand out the window? You know, what happens? Oh wow, it's
got some
you know, it's like you,
Crazy wind
it's like
resistance.
yeah, it's like, you know, you're behind a shield that's shielding the wind from hitting you, but when there's nothing in front of you, you're the full force of that. And also, it's really good when you have your open part of your palm facing into the force of wind headed towards you at like 180 miles an hour. So that's totally going to be great. So you can just pull a pistol into that 180 mile wind stream and shoot someone. It's not like your hand's going to open up and like it's going to get fucking flown away. No, that's not going to happen at all.
You better aim like a.
He's very strong. He's got adrenaline.
You better aim like a foot and a half in front of him too.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But he's
You
aiming
know?
behind him. Also, the tracers, quote unquote, that they had in the air that are smoking.
Yeah.
Like no, tracers don't fucking do that.
That fuck those-
So,
No, that's because they want to show people they're shooting it.
They
because
want-
in
that's
reality.
the
yeah,
MFTV.
yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was actually gonna mention those fucking contrails when they're shooting. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
God,
it brings me back to
damn.
like
Literally is like
brings me
contrail,
back
yeah.
to like PS2 Grand Theft Auto. You know, like where they anytime you shoot, you get the big white line. It's like no,
right,
I've shot.
Vice City was the best. Just end of story.
It was, yeah,
right.
and it has those when you shoot, it has those fucking contrails just like that.
Dude,
Yep.
Vice City was so good.
Like,
San
the
Andreas was also
soundtrack,
really
the
amazing.
fucking
The vibe of it all.
was okay. It was
Liberty
starting-
City was
yeah.
fun too.
3? Are you talking about
Vice
3?
City was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 was the first of like that era.
Yeah, exactly. And
Interesting,
Vice
yeah.
City was the fucking best. Man.
Vice City's
It
good.
was-
I like San Andreas still, quite a bit.
Man, Grove Street's
lot of
my
people
fucking.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like San Andreas, but no, I mean that's where it was like, became a huge fan. I mean, I loved 3, but then when Vice City came out, it was just like
Vice City. It's
yeah.
like you got fucking dance hall days in the Miami club before you shoot it all up, or you don't. It's all your decision.
yeah,
Fucking great times.
Those are the only video games that really got New York City. Like, I don't know. It's a very complex place, and it always gets misrepresented and stuff. But that game, it's like this. Yeah, you play a video game, you have a feel of what New York is like.
Did you? Okay, let me ask you this: did you, going back to war stuff? Did you ever have Frontline, Medal of Honor?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
Nate just came up to my place not too long ago, and he brought an Xbox with everything.
Frontline?
I was playing Rising
Oh,
Sun.
I love
Frontline.
Rising, dude.
Rising Sun sucked.
it sucked, but
it
I love
sucked.
it. I don't care what you say. I suck.
was a lot of
I
fun.
love it.
Yeah, okay. I played it. I played the.
I don't know what
shit
happened
too.
to my brother, and Yamashita's Gold is in an aircraft carrier at the bottom of Lake AC.
Dude,
that doesn't matter. Okay.
Frontline's a shit,
Frontline,
yeah.
the Market Garden missions
Yep.
were fucking killer.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
fucking love
I
it.
mean,
didn't-
amazing.
The problem was I didn't have enough time to play it all, so I got through Omaha and everything, and I'm just like, Nate, next time you go over, you're only coming over so I can finish this video.
That's tip
game.
of the
Yeah,
iceberg,
like,
dude.
Dude,
Like, yeah.
I used
I
to
know.
rent that
Well,
fucking
I wanted to
thing
make
from the video
I wanted
store
to make it to
downtown.
the HO229, but I just didn't have time.
It's the last
So
mission. Yeah,
it's-
the Hornet's Nest.
I know. Get the MP44, motherfucker. Like, it's just
Kill
I
von
gotta make-
Oh,
Sturmgeist.
well, you guys missed out because you got the MP44 in Medal of Honor Underground.
Underground. That's the first time you see it is in Underground. Yes, they didn't have it in the very first one. Yeah, in Underground.
Yeah, you're in Wavelsburg. You're
Babelsberg.
in
Yep.
that
Dark
fucking
Camelot.
castle.
Yep.
Yes, Dark Camelot.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like you get the Sten at first. You're like, what the fuck? This is awesome. No, dude, Underground was probably my favorite, like vibe wise, out of all that.
It hasn't
series. Frontline second.
Yeah, it has a different vibe than the first one. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, dude, because you go from fucking Paris to fucking Africa.
Africa. Yep. And then back to like Wavelsburg, and then you go. Okay, Brian, go ahead.
I was going to say, what I found hysterical, because I literally have not played these games in 15 years, at the very least. The last time I had access to like a console that could play these. I like literally was going through the Omaha mission and the U-boat mission, and I was like, I think there's a med kit. Oh my
You
god!
just- yeah, it
like I
comes back to your-
remembered.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's like, holy-
absolutely.
I don't know what I had for dinner last Tuesday, but like I fucking know where the ammunition resupply is on the U-boat, so I can get to the fucking like. It's oh my god! It's amazing how the mind.
I wish I could have been there for,
But it was like-
for when you guys did that.
Well, we have the technology.
Yeah.
We'll bring an Xbox to the premiere.
Dude, I still remember the fucking cheat codes to the original Medal of Honor.
Dude, imagine the cast.
Unlimited ammo, bad cop
Imagine
show.
the cast of Reveille playing Frontline. That'd be hysterical.
Dude, I'd do it anytime. Yeah, I got my shit right here.
Fuck yeah.
I got it all right here.
Dude, do LAN?
What's that?
Do a fucking
Throw away
LAN
a
party.
TV?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do a fucking LAN party. No screen peeking, motherfuckers.
Oh my god. Dude, Bush is president and you're going down.
Fucking
Yeah,
missed that game.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
no,
it's
peak
Rising
Oz.
Sun. It was like so short and limited, and obviously rushed. But like,
Yeah.
it's so fun to shoot Japs in that game. Like, I mean,
The Philippines.
Especially with the Type 99.
the Type 90, yeah,
Especially with the
yeah.
Type 99.
It's like yes.
Pistol was it Pistol Pete? or
Pistol
whatever?
Pete
That's a
Showdown.
great
Yeah,
one,
Pistol
too.
Pete Showdown.
Yeah,
Guadalcanal.
that's a great one. Yep. No, it's such a good game, and I also loved Pacific Assault.
I never
other
played
one
that
they
one.
came
I always
out
heard that was.
It was only for PC.
I think so because I always heard
Amazing.
that was like the Rising Sun that people wanted. That's kind of what I always
Yes, that was a much more realistic. And actually, it starts out at Tarawa, and then you go through Macon. Actually, you go through Pearl, Macon, the Canal, and then back to Tarawa, and it's really good.
Yeah.
They were going to make a sequel. Well, they were going to make a sequel to the other one, but then it didn't pan
Yeah.
out, and then they made this one, and that was the idea because they wanted to do They wanted you to find his brother basically, or like 43 to 45, but I just some things just never come to fruition.
Yeah, well,
but Pacific Assault is like the best game I've ever played, and I still play it every now and then. It's 20 years old and it looks like shit
Yeah.
now, but like
here's the problem
it's just
though,
so much
with
fun.
that. Like when that game came out, it was way more cinematic. I think they were trying to do like more
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's
2004.
Yeah. And it's like
yeah.
I like my Medal of Honor storylines plain. Like I like it simple. I like the fact that I never hear my character talk. I like the fact that I only see their face in the artwork. I don't,
Well, it's because Call of Duty came out and they were trying to compete with that.
Yeah, and I get it. Like the
Literally,
time
if
it
you
came
like
out.
if you
the
look at
first
the
Call of
recent-
Duties, like the first Call of Duties were like just linear. And
Oh,
stuff,
dude,
like,
the first Call of Duty, I actually convinced my parents to buy me which is rare, to buy
I'll
me
show
the
you
first
something.
Call of Duty, and like, it was like fucking. I can look down the iron sights.
I know when I saw that blew my fucking mind. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like holy shit.
That
man.
wasn't. It
Like,
wasn't. That wasn't the first Call of Duty I had though. The very first Call of Duty I had was Finest Hour. That was the very first Call of Duty I ever.
Call of
had.
Duty Finest Hour.
Yeah, and it starts with. Do you remember that one, Brian?
So I do. I'm holding a holy relic
Okay.
right now. I have had this for 20 years.
Do you have the box?
No,
is it?
I have the PC Gamer demo disc for Call of Duty.
Remember how they
It
used to
came
do
out.
those?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I fucking.
You
I
can play the
have
first mission. The fucking
get one level.
Yeah.
it. Yep. I have it.
Oh my
And
God.
I found it
Dude.
in my shit not too long ago, and I'm like, I can't throw this out.
That was
Like,
where
I have to keep it.
that was the issue. Is like I got that at Walmart. That the same fucking of course it's gone. And then I played it and I'm like, God damn, I have to get this game. So I convinced my parents. I was a good boy. I worked a lot around the house, doing extra shit. And it was like $30. And so like they bought it for me and I was just like, I cannot stop playing this. And then we were at Circuit City. I know, dating myself. Circuit City, and there was this game called Day of Defeat
Oh, okay.
on
I
the
remember
fucking
that, yeah.
shelf for $20. And I looked at it and I was like, can I please get this? Whatever. And then whatever, they bought it for me. And then I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. And I got to play it for like an hour and boom, blaster worm. Remember that fucker?
No, I don't. What's that?
The virus that like killed everybody's computer,
Oh wow.
like worldwide.
Uh-huh.
Bam, blaster worm. And it was like the computer would keep shutting down. And so we had to like, they had to get the disc to reboot the whatever. And then, so I couldn't play it for like a month after I bought it. And I'm like, God, so I was sitting there just rolling around by myself on single player maps.
Yep.
And it was like, okay. And all of a sudden, I'm playing fucking Day of Defeat 1.6 online in 2002 or 3. And I'm like, holy fuck, this is awesome. And then they're like, WAN, W-A-N, is phasing out. You have to download Steam in order to play this. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. I don't want to do that. Of course, so I want to play Day of Defeat. I download Steam. They're like, well, you've now got Ricochet, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, and all these other games because you got the CD key for this. And I'm like, so ends my life. This is it.
CS:GO.
Like, this is,
Oh my
I'm
God.
done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I got into CS 1.6, man, and it was fucking. That was the end of my gaming career. So I went from Call of Duty, and I would like beat that, played it a million times, got sick of it, and then never went back to console gaming. Was just like always on Steam.
That was a magical era.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, it was
yeah.
fucking
I
awesome.
mean, like I said, I was Call of Duty Finest Hour was the first one I ever had. Then it was Call of Duty Big Red 1. And then,
that one.
great
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's
and
a
then
great
Call
one.
of Duty 3, and then I think I ended it with World at War, or World at War. Yeah,
World at War was
that's
really
when it
good.
changed.
It was,
yeah.
But
Once
yeah,
they
that
had the first
was
Modern
it.
Warfare. That was
Yep,
when
that
like,
was-
the whole thing as a whole, changed.
Same thing with Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
It's like they try to compete with Call
And
of
it just
Duty,
sucks.
and it's like they all just went to the modern shit, and I was like, okay, the Medal of
Or
Honor,
like Warfighter and stuff.
yeah, it's just fucking.
I got
all
a
this-
funny story about that. I'll tell you guys.
the last.
Involves my
Oh
buddy
fuck,
that
we're
just
still
passed away.
recording.
Yeah,
Shit.
of course we are. I was like,
My bad. Okay, my bad. We haven't even done our like final review yet. We're just talking about
video
dumbass
game.
Yeah, we're
fucking nerd nostalgia from the mid.
I'll say this, and then we'll jump into our reviews. And
Yep.
then I know Nate will cut this up. But what do you call it? So dating myself. You know where I bought Call of Duty at? Comp USA.
Now that's yeah.
I don't think we fucking had them.
We have that here, Comp USA. I don't think
yeah,
anymore,
USA.
but
So no, they're gone. But yeah, it's like fucking A. And then Babbage's. That was another game store that was around here. I don't know if it was out
Did you guys have
west.
Circuit Cities out there on the East Coast?
oh yeah, I have Circuit City. I don't know if it's still there, but I remember where it was in Boise when I was a kid.
And the big red fucking.
Yep.
Yeah, Comp USA closed in 2012.
When did Circuit City close? Can you look that up really quick, just for shits and giggles?
I remember
It was mid 2000s, right?
It's still open.
still open, huh?
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one.
Circuit
still
City?
around.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's one left. Like the other day, I was thinking about it. Like it's funny. The other day, I was thinking like, is Sears still a thing? Like I don't think I've seen a Sears in forever.
I think there's one or two left,
Yeah.
but because they closed a lot of stores recently. It's kind of like Blockbuster.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like we have to be like this is the Top Gear quote, but we have to be like Victorian hunters. Like let's kill the last one. Like let's find it and kill
It's
it.
funny. One time when I was when you and Mike, you and I were driving, I was telling you a story about something that happened to me, and you never heard of this coffee chain. I'm curious if Brian has it there. Dutch Brothers.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's like the Starbucks here. Oh my god.
That's
yeah.
funny. Dude, everything out here is fucking Dunkin'. Like literally, there's probably 6 Dunkins in my town.
Really?
And that's
Jesus.
common. Oh yeah, like no shit. There's Dunkins across the street from other Dunkins, and they fucking.
There's
survive.
only one of those out
Like,
here.
I have a buddy of mine that I went to fucking Germany a few years ago, right? And I'm like, seeing the sights. I go to Berlin. Like, I actually walked the route of the 6th Shock Army, wherever it was, to the Reichstag. It was really cool through the city. I get to the fucking Reichstag. I get to the Holocaust Memorial where the Reichskanzlei was. There's a fucking Dunkin' Donuts there. I'm like, I can't escape these. They fucking follow me everywhere. Like fucking Dunkin'.
They're fucking everywhere. You don't understand it.
Holy shit, kid. But anyway, if you're still listening and we're still talking about World War One, we now
Yeah.
jump into our final review.
Oh, good.
My bad. I literally in my head we just got on the topic of.
I think everybody
nostalgia.
that listens to this is a video gamer or games or whatever, so it's fine. And
Yeah.
Nate will snip
Alright.
it up anyway. So,
Alright.
but yeah. So final thoughts. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, just it's boring, and that's kind of it. It's very poorly researched, and that someone who's not someone who is a novice when it comes to World War I stuff. It's like you can just tell that this is like surface level what they wrote. They never consulted with history. They just someone saw a documentary and decided to make a movie about that.
Yep.
And so I didn't expect it to be great, honestly. Like when I saw it years ago, I'm like, it has James Franco in it. He's kind of like nothing to me. Whatever. And I kind of knew it was going to be cheesy and didn't hear anything good about it. And revisiting it, it was the same thing, except the fact that James Franco, he came out that he's a predator. So there's that knowledge now to his whole thing.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like
forgot about the whole Me Too.
fuck him, and everything he stands for. So
Too old.
dude, it's amazing all these people like from our childhood that are predators. Like the guy from that '70s show. Like,
Which
holy
one?
Fuck. I forget the guy that's the longer hair and shit.
the curly hair
Narrows it
son of a
down.
bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that came out recently, but fucking
Yeah,
A.
but
don't meet your heroes.
yes, but But anyway, and yeah, shitty lead actor, just generic ass story and the way it's told and directed and all that shit. And yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna give it a 3. And
there you go.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to Mike.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Is like, it's just fucking like somebody watched a documentary and was like, oh, let's make a film, just like willy nilly. It's like, come on, like, what are you doing? And you know, James Franco again. I'll rag on him again because I just think he's shitty in everything he fucking does. I've never seen anything that I actually think he's good in. Also, I don't know why he's a parody. He was fucking Alison Brie.
Who?
Like, Alison Brie?
Oh shit.
Yeah, like, fucking goddamn.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she was like, yeah, she's definitely, but like he was like, what the fuck, man. But anyway, that whole thing aside, like, he just ruined the whole fucking thing right off the bat. I'm like, okay, give him a chance. And I'm like, oh, no, we're just watching James Franco try to just fucking weasel his way through this and whatever. The poor research really sucked. It's like, I don't expect people to be fucking experts on World War I, but like, again, because it's not this super popular pop culture fucking topic like World War II is, or the Civil War. Well, World War II, but we'll just say. It's like people just don't give a fuck and they don't think they have to because people just buy it. And that really sucks because like this is a cool story because like yes, Americans did volunteer to go over and they would go over and fight with, you know, the Canadians, the Brits, the fucking French before we even got involved. It could have been done so much fucking better, and just the people that don't know anything about military history whatsoever making a military history film, you could definitely tell. But again, I guess the masses won't tell, and they might think it's good because whatever, but like there's just so much shit wrong with it. Like we've already discussed it. Yeah, this is gonna get a fucking solid 3.5. Because again, like I say in all these reviews, at least somebody might pick up a fucking book and like go to like try to learn more about the Flyboys in World War I and like how dogfighting actually happened and all that shit. But like it's so bad. It's just not good.
Yeah, no, it really, yeah, you know, whoever reads a book after watching the film definitely read more books than the author or than the script writer and the fucking director. But yeah, no, to put my few cents into it, it's enjoyable to a novice. It tried and it failed. There's a few good, interesting scenes. Like every film has a few good ones. But overall, it's barely watchable. It's just very hard. And like I said, I literally was more interested in retro fucking commercials by like 30 minutes in than the movie. I'm like, oh, Bryan Cranston is so bad from 1983. But like fucking, yeah, it was rough. So that being said, I'm going to be a little nice with it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because again, you know, if it gets you involved in the subject, that's great. And it will move you towards better films that were made almost 100 years ago about the same subject.
Also,
so,
they did have lapel rifles in there.
Yeah, you know,
Let's be
there
fair.
are some interesting things, you know, and we got to see a guy with a hook shoot down a plane, so that's something. I don't
Which
know,
also can be done.
It's like, imagine if Peter Pan happened to, I mean, that's the origin story for the hook, you know, fucking, he was in World War I, so after he robbed the bank. But yeah, so tallying up all the scores to see if this movie is good or not, we get a number of 3.5. So the answer is no.
I actually would not recommend this. Unless it's not even educational. It's not. It's like it's not.
If you're looking for a movie to get drunk to with your buddies, I mean, hey, every
Perhaps,
time they get in a plane, drink. I don't know. It's something. It's a movie. And that's all they. Yeah.
It's
a movie, all right.
It was badly written, badly cast.
The writing was horse shit, and then they act. It just those two combined, and the poor like you have the trifecta of shitty filmmaking is like badly written, badly cast, and badly researched.
I used to hear more about this movie. I haven't in the last few years, and I looked up the box office numbers, and I kind of see why. You know what the budget for this movie was?
Huh?
60 mil.
Good Lord.
60?
60 mil. You know what
60
they made?
million?
Jesus.
Probably
not
20?
that.
17.
So I was close. I was close.
So
Yeah.
it was a
But
flop.
still, that's a loss. That's a flop. Yeah, that's fucked.
Oh,
Yeah.
But again, like I said, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I heard about this film a lot, like in everything. But like, because I'm on a lot of the war movie faces, Facebook pages and shit. But like, no, I really haven't seen it talked a lot about. So when I found it again, I was like, oh, cool, World War One, flyers and everything. But yeah,
I hate all these fucking movies that we watch. That the topic, it's the subject matter is fucking fascinating, and they just butcher it to the nth degree. It's so fucking terrible.
For some reason, the best World War One dogfight films were made within 20 years of the end of the war.
Yeah, I suppose it costs less. You can get the original shit, but like, still, like, I mean, was 60 million, Brian? 60 million?
I know. Yeah, it was an attempt.
Oh
and
my
it
god!
failed,
Like,
so.
what the fuck? Like, you
It's crazy.
give us amateurs 60 million. I'll make a better fucking film about Flyboys than they did.
You know what? To put it in context, you know what an average TV show costs today from like HBO?
Right.
Like 25 to 60 million. And they shot a movie for what they shoot a 45-minute long television show today for. So
Yeah, I get it, but still, like,
oh, it's crazy.
I don't know. That's a lot. I mean, that's more money that I can conceptualize in my fucking head, and it still just fell that short.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but like,
It always baffles me how much shit there is out there that gets produced. And it's like somebody had to write this. They had to pitch this. They had to convince somebody to put money into it.
Yep.
They had to convince other people to get involved. And they had to hire people. Like, so much shit had to happen for this horrible ass piece to fucking show up on my screen. And it's like, wow. So imagine all the good films that didn't get made because, my
the
grandfather was related to Warner Brothers, and now I want to make Legally Blonde 17, Cucamonga.
Right.
So,
yeah,
but
I get it, but like, it was just very fucking disappointing because the subject matter again is excellent, and it just fell completely fucking flat.
we have had we've had a lot of bad dogfighting films, so we're gonna have to do a good one. So I think next time we'll do Battle of Britain. That's a good one. That's got.
Well,
some
that
great
was also
scenes.
highly requested on the poll.
yeah.
That was the second one when we did. What the hell did we do?
I think it was Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, it was Black Hawk Down. Yep. And then we did Battle of Britain, and they were like, "I love Battle of Britain. It's so fucking good."
Battle of Britain is probably the best dogfighting.
I
movie.
think
It's
I
got
saw
a real
it when
dogfighting sequence.
Yeah, I saw that so long ago. I hardly remember it.
Same here. That's exactly where I'm at. Like, so I think it would be good. So yeah,
the last battle of that is just magnificent because they talk about aerial combat different ways, and the last battle is like probably a good solid 15 minutes of dogfighting and characters just dying randomly over like very good orchestral like classical music, and it's just like it's just amazing.
the juxtaposition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like like
Yeah.
guys planes like there's literally HE-111s going down and it's like bump da da da. It's like Spitfire and it's really good. It's like dudes trying to crawl up their diving bomber to get to the escape hatch and not making it. Like it's very well done.
Don't fucking ruin
it's
it,
nothing
Brian.
like
We
this.
haven't seen it in a long time, so it's basically we haven't seen it. So
Oh, sorry. I gave you one scene out of a 2.5
It's a
hour one.
long ass thing.
So,
I
but
remember
it's-
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
no.
it's great,
So
though.
I think so. We started out because I don't know if we've done like an aerial dogfight kind of.
we did Midway, which kind of touches on it.
That
but-
dude, Brian, that does not fucking count.
I know, but it's a naval battle that has dogfights. So
okay, I'll give you that. So
then we did.
we've done two shitty ones. Then how about that? We've done two shitty ones.
What was the one with Owen Wilson? Fucking.
Behind enemy
Behind
lines.
enemy
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
week
that
that I
was-
couldn't be there, and I was like,
Yeah.
that wasn't really a
Wow.
yeah. But
That was interesting.
But anyway,
But yeah, not a dogfight.
I think
Man fighting a missile.
Yeah, we owe ourselves in the audience a good one next when we do this topic.
Yep.
So
Heading to the teeth of the Battle of Britain. So.
yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. The podcast about Call of Duty video games. It was a lot
I
of
can keep
fun.
going.
Medal of
And,
Honor. Medal of
you
Honor.
know, oh, same, dude. So if you want to, keep listening to us, pay for the extended content now. Yeah. So hopefully Nathan enjoys his incarceration behind, German lines, and we'll see him in 3 years. About 100 pounds, thinner and no teeth and no hair. But away it goes.
Good luck.
And on that note, thanks for joining us, and see you guys next week.
This movie sucks.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time,